Hello and welcome to the Fine Print. We are at the cusp of a major transformation of the Indian investing landscape from 100% domestic to a reasonable global allocation. I am speaking to Neil Parikh today, CEO of Parag Parikh Mutual Fund, who needs no introduction and whose fund house has done global investing for more than a decade now. So, we want to talk about today their new offerings in Gift City, which are dedicated global products, and these are really important because the India funds across AMCs, they have hit the RBI limit, so there is no further room to invest uh, overseas. So Neil, if you could first give us an overview of what you currently have live and what you have planned in Gift City.
So thank you, Neil, for having me. Appreciate it. So currently we have a PMS running where it's discretionary and advisory. Discretionary is basically you give us money and we manage the portfolio for you and we select the stocks for you. Advisory is basically if you already have a portfolio abroad or you already have investments abroad, then we will advise you on those things, and it's your call in the end what you want to do about it. So that is live as of right now. We've actually onboarded about 50 clients in the last 2 months. Going forward
On the discretionary side.
on 8 on advisory and I think 40-ish 42 on the discretionary side. So yeah, it's a mix of both. Going forward, I think our plan is around mid Feb or Feb 22nd, around that time, to launch our two passive outbound funds, which will be the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, and those will be important because the ticket size will be much lower. It will be $5,000 compared to in the discretionary PMS it's minimum 75,000 US dollars, and in the advisory it's 200,000 US dollars. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be accessible to a lot of people.
That's true. That's true. Now, the main concern that a lot of investors have is around US valuations. And so, when they look at the passive funds, they have that fear. To which a solution can be the PMS, because in the PMS, you're not just in US.
Yeah.
So, could you give us a broad overview of the investment philosophy of the PMS?
Yeah. So this is exactly how we thought about also in the flexi cap or in our mutual fund where we've been running since 2013. So investment philosophy is kind of the same, is that look for basically I'll just go first with the geographies that we look at is North America, Western Europe and developed Asia. We don't want to go too exotic to countries that we have no confidence in the rule of law, or if the balance sheets are in like a different language, you get lost in translation. So we stick to the major geographies where I think if you cover these three geographies, I mean 80-90% of your I think 90% of the world is kind of covered in that, again, so secondly, so after the geography we look at globalized businesses, so one thing that we keep telling people that when you invest in India, it's already you're taking a home country risk, because it's a country risk that you're taking. So for example, that just means that if tomorrow we go to war with our neighbors or a demonetization happens, India will be affected, but somewhere say a country like US or Europe will not be affected by these country specific events. So having some money first is outside the country will obviously diversify a portfolio and reduce the risk of the portfolio. After that, we are looking at not very small companies or very country specific companies, where they're globalized businesses where, for example, say a Google or a Microsoft or an Amazon, where they have operations all over the world. So even if something happens to say a US, only like a part of that businesses come from the US,
Yeah.
otherwise it's spread across the world. So that's kind of the companies we like.
I noticed that in the fact sheet as well. So some of
Yes.
the non-US businesses are also quite diversified, multinationals. So DBS, Ryanair,
Yes.
Unilever.
Yes. Yes. So that's kind of our hunting ground, or where we think would help in terms of building a portfolio and in diversification and not getting into a very country specific risk. So these are pretty much all largish companies with global influence. So that's kind of the portfolio that we would want to build. Again, from a valuation standpoint, I think we're very value conscious, and we will not invest in anything that we think is above our valuation comfort. So all the stocks that we like and which are in the portfolio already are companies where we think the valuations are still reasonable.
Can you tell me a bit about the team and how you're able to translate your more than a decade's worth of knowledge on global markets into the new Gift City products?
So our research is based on sectoral lines. So an auto analyst will also cover Indian auto companies as well as global auto companies. Today I think every analyst is a global analyst as such. You got to look at what's happening all around the world to figure out what are the changes. You have to see even at China for that. Maybe we might not invest in China, but as an auto analyst, you'll probably want to know what's happening in BYD and all these other companies to see where the future is going or what are they doing differently. So, in essence, everyone's a global investor or a global. The research person is a global research person. Again, our research is kind of common between is common across the organization. So research is shared, and obviously the decision will be taken at Gift City, where we have a 5-member team sitting there. Obviously ideas are shared across the organization, but final decision will be with the Gift City principal officer.
That's really interesting because essentially you could have an auto analyst in India who is also looking at, as you said, BYD or some companies in America, and then that note gets shared with the Gift City team.
Yes, so there is always information sharing and knowledge sharing. Something interesting is happening. I mean, we all get together and discuss opportunities. So, yeah, knowledge sharing is something that the organization's always been about, and we've been doing that for a very long time, even in some of the things that we do outside PPFAS in terms of financial opportunities forum. So yeah, so information shared. We host this financial opportunities forum where even a particular sector or something that we like, we talk about it and put it up on the internet. So it's for everyone to share. So knowledge sharing is something which is something that we continue doing.
Yeah, it's especially important because a lot of people think that to track global companies, you have to physically be in those geographies. And today's information-driven world, that's no longer true.
So exactly. I mean, if you're looking at globalized companies, then you actually get all the information online. But if you're looking at a very niche kind of company, which is only say in one state or one particular country, then it's very hard to. Then you probably need a analyst or someone feet on the street. It's like when you're researching on a smaller cap company in India, you would need to go visit the plant, see, figure out, talk to suppliers, talk to buyers, get that information and get that on ground presence. But if you're looking at globalized businesses, and most of these companies that we just spoke about, we are already users of those products. I mean, we know what a Microsoft does. We've used Google. We order on Amazon. We consume Heineken beer, for example, right? So we know these products. We've touched and felt them, and we've used them. So it makes it easier for the analyst to even understand that. And today, with all the globalized businesses, everything is up online. Even their meeting notes, everything you can actually attend. We see video call and get all that same information. So
now it's only been a couple of months since you launched the PMS, which is why about half of it is not yet deployed, right?
yes.
So the cash component is not so much because of your concerns around valuation, it's just that it's early days.
Yeah, so we are not in a rush to invest as soon as we get money. When the valuations are right, we will definitely go out and buy it. It's only been a couple of months, so we are not in a hurry to deploy everything in one go. As and when things start looking attractive, we'll invest in them. So as of right now, about between 60 and 70% has been invested in portfolios which came earlier. Obviously, if somebody came 2 days back, then that would be different because everything would not be deployed that much. But about 65-70% is deployed as of right now.
Yeah, and I'm assuming even the cash component is not like per se cash, it's like T-bills or some kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So Neil, can you tell us about the expense ratio of the PMS?
Yeah. So for resident Indian, it's 1% plus GST, and for NRIs, it's just 1% because they don't have GST. And from if you come from through a regular plan or through a distributor, then it's 2%.
Right. The other interesting thing that people should note about taxation is that if it's less than 2 years, then it's slab rate. If it's more than 2 years, then it's 12.5%. So the lower the churn in general, the better it is.
Absolutely. So that's kind of what we aim to do, and that's kind of what we, again, as a long only fund house, that's something we need to be really careful about. That try not to sell anything before 2 years, So, and most of our investments are about 5, 6 years minimum holding. So hopefully we won't have that problem to face on in terms of taxation.
Yeah. And the other thing to note about PMS is not fund level taxation. So the PMS does not deduct any tax.
Yes.
It has to be at your level as the investor. Now, you haven't so far enabled NRIs to invest in the PMS, but you're in the process of doing that.
Yes, so the platform we have right now doesn't allow NRIs from at least the US, Canada, and Europe to invest in the PMS. But we are looking at other options where this will be enabled. It might take some time because we're just still in the discovery stage of it. But I think once we have that, that'll be really good because it makes sense for such NRIs to invest in a PMS than in a fund structure.
Yeah, yeah, especially those in the US who are affected by the PFIC rules.
Exactly, exactly.
Um, Now you have two uh, passive funds tracking the S&P and NASDAQ on the annual, as you said, to be launched on 22nd February, and those would have a entirely online journey for investing.
Yes, so again, that's still work in progress, but we are going to try to make it as simple as possible. I mean, the ultimate goal is to make it as simple as investing in a Indian mutual fund. Obviously, it's not going to become exactly a replica of investing in a Indian mutual fund, but can we come as close to it as possible? And online is one thing that obviously we are looking at, and I think it would be possible. I think over time this will get much better and better. So I think it will get easier and easier to invest in Gift City, in these retail funds where the minimum is $5,000, and I think it'll be very accessible.
Yeah.
I think it's still a bit of a work in progress, and I think efficiencies will be built over time.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
this.
For the PMS, however, it is an offline process, right?
It is an offline process, yes. Yes, so we need a PMS agreement, we need your PAN card, bank details, proof of address, and then after that, you'll have to send the LRS money to the IBK brokers, interactive brokers, and they will assign you a bank account in either JP Morgan or Citibank, a virtual bank account, which will be only your account. So that's the process of the PMS, but the fund structure would be a pooled asset, so it should be much easier.
Yeah. Neil, anything else you'd like to say about global investing and your plans in this space?
Yeah, I think global investing is actually quite important, and I think one thing I keep saying is that don't look at global investing just to chase returns. I think the most important thing is that it helps your overall portfolio to reduce risk, and that's been kind of what we've been saying for the last 15 years is that don't chase something that's just going up or something hot, and that also in India or globally, but having some part of your portfolio outside the country will reduce the risk of the portfolio. It'll also let you participate in ideas which are not in India. So, say sometime like AI or chips manufacture is not we don't have such companies in India, but so for those companies, you need to go outside India. And India is about 4% of the market cap of the world. So 96% of the opportunities lie actually outside India. So look at some of those opportunities that we miss out on. So yeah, I think this is something that's important and will help the overall portfolio of the person.
And you've been a pioneer in this space. Thank you so much, Neil.
Thank you, Neil.